Looking forward, Be'ez Hashem Yisbarach, to Nisim in this incredible month of Chodesh Nisan. We are, of course, one Amud in so far to the Maseches, Shekalim, and we are Be'ez Hashem today going to take a look at some of the Agaritas already with regards to Maseches Shekalim. As we noted yesterday, that there are certain things that people are a little bit lazy to do, and because of that, we need to make sure that we announce that the shkalim have to be given not 60 days ahead of when they are due, but 30 days ahead of when they are due, so that people don't say, "I've got plenty of time; I don't need to worry about it." Says the Gemara, one line, two lines from the second line of Daf Beis Amud Beis. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yehuda ben Fazi b'shem Rebbe. Rabbi Yehuda ben Fazi said in the name of Rebbe, Hein Nikra V'loi Nivas. The pasuk that says Hein Nikra V'loi Nivas. There are certain things. There are certain things that are read, and V'loi Nivas. And how could you not be astounded? How can you not be shocked and terrified by it? And the Gemara is now going to contrast a number of things. L'tova, things are amazing. Kol nediv leiv. The pasuk says Kol nediv leiv. Everybody that was generous of heart brought to the Mishkan. However, l'ra, but when it came to negative things, v'yisparku kol ha'am, that everybody took off their jewelry and gave to the Egel Hazav. You didn't have to be particularly generous to do it. Kol nediv leiv, only all the generous people, but everybody gave to the Egel. L'tova, when it came to good things, v'yotze Moshe es ha'am, that Moshe brought the people out of the camp. They were on their way to Har Sinai, but when it came to l'ra'ah, for something negative, v'tikruvun elai kulchem, everybody gathered to Moshe Rabbeinu. Rashi there says be'irbuvia. They came with a whole rabble. When it came for good things, Moshe Rabbeinu had to lead them one by one. When it came to negativity, Chalil, the Jewish people all gathered. They clamored to complain. L'tova, when it came to good things, as Yoshu Moshe b'nei Yisrael, then Moshe Rabbeinu and the Jewish people sang l'ra'ah. When it came to negative things, Vatisa kol ha'ida, everybody together lifted up their voice and complained when the Meraglim came back. So you see that when good things happen, everybody is mentioned is one by one. When it came to negative things, then you see a lot more excitement. That's when you read these psukim. How could you not be astounded and shocked and saddened? Amar Rabbi Chia bar Abba says, Rabbi Chia bar Abba achein. The pasuk explains the pasuk in Tzefanya, achein hishkimu hishchisu. They got up and they rose up early to do terrible things, to do corrupt things. V'chol hashchasa shayu osim behashkama hayu osim. All negative things that people did, they did with zrizus, with alacrity, with excitement. Behashkama, they woke up early to do negative things. Amar Rabbi Abba. Behashkama hayu osim. Amar Rabbi Abba bar Acha says Rabbi Abba bar Acha. You cannot explain the nature of this people. Don't be so negative about them. When they are asked to give to the Egel, they give. And when they are asked to give to the Mishkan, they give. Don't be so down on the Jewish people. They give to whatever they're asked to give to, which means that the primary responsibility of Jewish leadership is to make sure that Jews are being asked to give to the right things, because whatever they're asked to give to, Jews are going to give. That's the nature of the people. Tana Rabbi Yosef bar Chanina, Hada Masnisa, says Rabbi Yosef bar Chanina in this following brisa, Vasisa kaparis zahav tahar. You're going to make a covering for the Aaron, zahav tahar, out of pure gold. That the gold of the kaparas should atone for the gold of the egel, which is an additional reason. Don't be so down on the Jewish people. Hashem gave them a mitzvah for them to fix. Rabbi Chagai b'shem Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachman says, Rabbi Chagai in the name of Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachman, Sholosh trumas nemru b'parshas zos. There are 3 donations mentioned in this section of the Torah in Parshas Truma. Trumas Adanim, or Trumas Shekalim, or Trumas Hamishkan. The Adanim, the sockets the silver sockets that were made for the Mishkan, Trumas Shekalim, and the donation of the Shekalim, which is Masechta, Trumas HaMishkan, and the giving of all the things needed for the Mishkan. And the pasuk says, "Daber el bnei Yisrael v'yichu li truma." Speak to the Jewish people, and they should take for me a truma. Zu trumas adanim. That's talking about the truma of the adanim of the sockets, as we'll see in a little bit. Me'is kol ish asher yidvin libai, from everybody that is generous of heart. Yichus trumasi, take my truma. Zu trumas shkalim. That's talking about the shkalim. V'zayis truma asher tichu meitam. And when the pasuk says, and this is the truma that you're going to take from them, zu trumas hamishkan. This is the truma of everything else in the Mishkan. Trumas hamishkan lemishkan. The truma of the Mishkan was given for the Mishkan, and now let's understand them. Trumas of the Mishkan was given to the Mishkan. Ma'aseh yirtzu yasu, and whatever Moshe Rabbeinu and Betzalel wanted to do with it is what was done with it. Trumas shkalim lekarban, and all of the shkalim were given to the karbanos. Ma'aseh yirtzu yasu, and whatever they wanted to do with it, meaning the people in charge of the collection, they had the right to do so. Kedei yad kulan shaveh, so that everybody would be equal. Meaning nobody could say, I want my donation only to go to the Tamid for Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur or my birthday. No, all the money goes into the same pot, and everybody takes out, and the Kohanim would take out to give that everybody has a hand in every single korban. It's a korban tzibur. You don't get to say, I want my socket to be here or there. So Trumas Adanim, La Adanim, the Truma of the Adanim went to the Adanim, Ha'ashir lo yarbeh v'hadal lo yamin, that the person that is wealthy could not give more in order to make sure that his socket went to a chashiva place. But and the poor people were not left out either. Everybody, all the money was collected equally. Amar Rabbi Abban, says Rabbi Abban, af beparsha azayis nimar gimel trumas. This parsha also says 3 trumos. They are machatzis hashekel truma Hashem. Machatzis hashekel is a truma for Hashem. Yitain trumas Hashem. You should give the truma of Hashem. Latesis trumas Hashem, to give the truma of Hashem. And this we're saying when the pasuk there says it as well at the end of Perek Lamed in Sefer Shmos. So all of those 3 trumas are referring to the trumas that we have just spoken about. That's another indication of it. Okay. Now we had pointed out in the Mishnah that on the 15th day of the month of Adar we are going to read the Megillah in the Krachim. Says the Gemara, Lo chen amar Rabbi Chelbai. This is Rabbi Ravuna b'shem Rabbi Chelba, Rav Chia Rab b'shem Rav Chia Rabba. This is not what was said in the name of Rav Chia Rabba, because we know that they said Hakol Yotzim b'Yadalad Shul Zaman Kriyasa. Everybody reads it on Yadalad on the 14th of Adar, because that is the correct time to read the Megillah. Says the Gemara, Amarle, or not Amarle, but Loi ba elalam the chashikal mitzvahs shenagim ba'adar sheni inam nagim ba'adar rishon. No, a Mishnah of course understands, like Rabbi Chelba told us, that the walled city residents cannot be yotzeh on the 14th of Nisan of Adar. Everybody agrees to that. What we are saying is that which that all of the mitzvahs that apply in Adar Rishon also apply in Adar Sheni. And Einam Nagas Ba'adar Rishon, and once you know that there's an Adar Sheni, then you don't have those mitzvahs applying in Adar Rishon. That's the chiddush that our Mishnah is operating on here. Rabbi Yosef and Rabbi Acha Havan Yasin, Rabbi Yosef and Rabbi Acha were sitting. Amar Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Acha, says Rabbi Yosef to Rabbi Acha, Loi mistavra ela l'she'avar. This only makes sense if we are talking about something that has already happened. Aval lavai loy, but it cannot be that Rabbi Chelba is teaching us that the person doesn't need to read the Megillah again if this already happened meaning if they declared the month of Adar to be a second month of Adar. It cannot be that this is something that we're saying lechatchila. Says vaha tani makom shenagol lekroisa shnei yamim karinas shnei yamim, because we have a brisa that tells us that places that have the minhag to read it for 2 days, they do read it for 2 days. So that takes us out of the possibility of telling us that lechatchila there's no such thing as somebody reading on 2 days. So Amarle says to him, Oif ana savar kain. I also agree with you. I agree with you, and the brisa is not going to be a challenge. Why? Amar Rabbi Mana, Rabbi Mana is going to explain to us v'yeus, and Rav Acha was correct that there's no contradiction between the Mishnah and the brisa. Ilu mishakari b'Yudalad. If you have a walled city resident that reads the Megillah on the 14th, chayze v'kara b'tesvav, and he didn't read it again on the 15th, meaning he should have read it on the 15th, Shema ein shemeloi, maybe we would not listen to him. Im at omer ken, and if you say so, nimse oker zman krachem biadcha, it's going to come out that we have gotten rid of the idea of the walled city reading on the 15th. Meaning, he says, I don't want to read it again. We tell him, no, you have to. It's not that you have an option of reading on the 14th or the 15th. You at least have to read it on the 15th. If you want to read it on the 14th, you could choose to read it on the 14th. But you don't have the option not to read it on the 15th, because if you've done that, then you have effectively gotten rid of the idea of Shushan Purim, and that is impossible, because that is the primary din. Tani, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says, mitzvahs hanagas b'adar sheni, the mitzvahs that apply in adar sheni, enim nagas b'rishon, don't apply in adar rishon, chutz may hesped v'tainis, except for the prohibition against hesped meaning giving eulogies, v'tainis, and fasting, sheheim shavus bazeh vazeh. These two mitzvahs apply to both, meaning the idea of Purim Katan, you're not allowed to have hesped and tainis on Purim Katan, the Purim of adar rishon, so that applies equally. Says the Gemara as follows: Rebbe Ba, the Ba is a person, not a verb. Rebbe Ba, that would be the Yerushalmi of saying Rebbe Abba. Rebbe Ba, Rebbe Yirmiyah b'shem Rav, b'shem Rav, Rebbe Simon or Shimon b'shem Rebbe Yehuda ben Levi explain the following: Halacha Rebbe Shimon Gamliel, the halacha is Rebbe Shimon ben Gamliel, as we just stated. Rav Huna Rabbi de Tziporin Amar, Rav Huna the Great of Tzipori, explained, Hinhig Rabbi Chanina b'Tziporin kahaded Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, that Rabbi Chanina of Tzipori held like Rabbi Shimon Gamliel as well. Loi Amar Ela Hinhig about the halacha loi. And the Gemara is now inferring from this. Hold on, he said that he was noyeg like this. Does that mean that he didn't think that it was the halacha? Well, he did think that it was halacha. Loi Amar Ela Hinhig la halacha loi. Aval le'inyan shtaros, but when it comes to shtaros, kotvin rishon, kotvin other rishon, the other sheni, the other sheni stam. When it comes to writing shtaros, when it comes to writing documents, what is the primary month? Will the real other please stand up? So kotvin other rishon, when you're writing an other rishon, you have to say other aleph, other rishon, the other sheni, and if you stam write other, that means other sheni. Rabbi Yehuda holds other rishon with regards to other rishon stam. That's the stam. Real other is other rishon, and other sheni gets tanya. Is called other tinyan or tanyan or other sheni, meaning that's the one that you have to write about. The machloikis, whether or not the primary other is other rishon or other sheni. And you see that somewhat this machlokes comes out between the Shulchan Aruch and the Ramah with regards to when to be noeg a yartzeit. To be noeg a yartzeit and other rishon, other sheni, you see that there is somewhat of a discrepancy between the Shulchan Aruch and the Ramah. And Be'ez Hashem Yisbarach, to be continued. Looking forward, Be'ez Hashem, to continuing tomorrow, Erev Shabbos Kodesh, and wishing everybody a beautiful Chodesh and a month filled with Nisim and Niflas for us, for our families, and for the entirety of Klal Yisrael.